Nigerians in Nigeria and in diaspora watching your program, Newspaper Headlines today from BGI TV Current. That is where we always come every morning from Monday till Thursday, bringing to you whatever the newspaper stand is carrying. As usual, I'm having the Vanguard newspaper and the Punch newspaper. Today, the 10th day in the month of June 2023. We had our Democracy Day in Nigeria yesterday to celebrate the only man that won the election but was never presented with the mandate, who is no other person but MKO Abiola. But all the same, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria, presented his inaugural speech for the Democracy Day, first one ever, yesterday, telling the importance of what democracy should be and must remain in Nigeria. Once again, I welcome you all to your program, Newspaper Headlines today. My name is Morire Rabila Lawal, and with my colleague today.
It's my pleasure welcoming all our viewers across the globe to today's Daily's Review. And my name is Ige Olalekon. Sit back and watch as we take you through all the dailies for the day.
On the Vanguard newspaper, the first rider is Inauguration Power Show as 10th NAS gets underway today.
And from the People's Gazette, I have this. 10th NAS, all South members elect endorse Abbas for Speaker.
From the tussles and crisis rocking subsidy, Nigerians groaning, NBA tells Tinubu.
And from the Nation newspaper, governors, activists hail Matthias of democracy, canvass support for Tinubu.
Akpabio Yari fight for soul of Senate presidency.
And from the Nigerian Tribune, Chibok girls' parents beg Tinubu to facilitate release of remaining 92 girls.
From the Vanguard newspaper, I go straight to the Punch newspaper. National Assembly, APC, anointed candidates, rebels to slug it out.
And here I never criticized Buhari for not making refineries functional, says Sule.
NNPCL issues directive to marketers on refund new price.
And from People's Gazette, I have this. Prosecute Emefiele for unleashing financial genocide on Nigerians, group tells Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
ASUP expressed doubt over student loan.
And looking at it from the full details of the news I have from the Gazette, People's Gazette. Prosecute Emefiele for unleashing financial genocide on Nigerians. Group tells Tinubu. The George Urban Whistleblower Network on Monday urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the international community to prosecute the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele for allegedly committing financial genocide against Nigeria as a result of his failed presidential bid. We concluded that Emefiele has committed a crime against humanity. The Nigerian masses, we hereby call on the international community to take cognizance of this crime as recognized by Nigerian Supreme Court. Emefiele unleashed financial genocide on the masses because he failed to become the Nigerian president. We humbly request that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, direct law enforcement agent to work with whistleblowers in order to solve crimes sweeter, trace and recover mind-blogging funds stolen or trapped. And according to People's Gazette, prosecute Emefiele for unleashing genocide, financial genocide on Nigerians. Group tells Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And my first rider from the Vanguard newspaper is coming. Except the unexpected happens, the National Assembly is primed for a battle royale as the 10th Assembly is inaugurated today. After weeks of power play, horse trading, alignments and realignment, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari, will contest for the Senate presidency. In the House of Representatives, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas will slug it out with immediate past Deputy Speaker Idris Wasi for speakership. And also, Akpabio and Abbas are the candidates of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, National Working Committee NWC, for the two top legislative slots. To deputize them are Senator Jibrin Barahu and Rep. Benjamin Kalu. The rider on the Vanguard inauguration power show as 10th National Assembly gets underway today.
From the People's Gazette, 10th NAS, all South-South members elect endorse Abbas for Speaker. All 55 members elect from the House of Representatives from the South-South geopolitical zone have endorsed Rep. Tajuddin Abbas to emerge as Speaker of the 10th Assembly. In a statement by the Abbas campaign team on Monday, the member-elect also endorsed Rep. Benjamin Kalu as Deputy Speaker in the June 13th election. The statement said the endorsement has brought the number of incoming lawmakers backing the ticket to over 290. Addressing the candidates and their team, Rep. Uyima Udem, a member-elect from Akwa Ibom, stated that it had come to a point where the South-South caucus must key into the vision and agenda of the Abbas Kalu ticket. Mr. Idem said the Joint Tax 10th Assembly Coalition had vigorously promoted the Abbas Kalu's ticket. According to the rider, 10th NAS, all South-South member-elect endorsed Abbas for Speaker.
The Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) section on Public Interest and Development Law (NBA) SPIDA has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately put measures in place to mitigate the suffering of Nigerians following the removal of fuel subsidy on fuel. Speaking at a briefing in Lagos yesterday, the chairman of the section, Dr. Monde Ubani, faulted the process of removing subsidy on fuel by President, adding that Nigerians were groaning in pain and hardship. He said, "We note that though the majority of Nigerians do not understand the huge scam that subsidy represents in the oil sector, the process and procedure for removal were faulty." The rider from the Vanguard is "Subsidy, Nigerians groaning, NBA tells Tinubu."
And from the Nigerian Tribune, Chibok girls' parents begs Tinubu to facilitate release of remaining 92 girls. Concerned parents of Chibok girls have written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to help facilitate the release of 92 abducted girls still in Boko Haram's captivity. This was just as the affected parents congratulated Asiwaju Tinubu and Senator Kashim Shettima on their assumption of office as President and Vice President of Nigeria respectively. The appeal was made in a letter issued on behalf of concerned parents by Yana Galang, mother of Rikfatu Gala, still in captivity, and Zana Law. The parents in their letter begged President Tinubu to help them in releasing the remaining girls still in captivity, pointing his attention to the predicament they had been in since 2014, when 276 of our daughters from Chibok Government Secondary School were adopted. And to the rider, Chibok girls' parents begged Tinubu to facilitate release of remaining 92 girls.
As regards the 10th National Assembly, as the 10th National Assembly is inaugurated today, strong indications have emerged that the aspirations of former Senate Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio and former Governor of Zamfara State Abdulaziz Yari for the position of the President of the Senate have simply and sharply divided the senators-elect. As of yesterday, the decision of who becomes the President of the Senate and Chairman of the 10th National Assembly is shaky, as the claimed numbers of supporters are clashing. At the meeting of Akpabio's supporter group at the Lagos Hall of the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, while the group claimed over 70 senators-elect to their camp, only 52 senators-elect attended the meeting and was worried by the not too encouraging number. Vice President Kashim Shettima had promised that he was prepared to go and beg other senators, especially from the north, to support the aspiration of Akpabio and Senator Jibrin Barahu for the position of Senate President and Deputy Senate President respectively. The rider comes from the Vanguard newspaper. Last minute rush, Akpabio, Yari fight for soul of Senate presidency.
And from the Nation newspaper, governors, activists, hail martyrs of democracy, canvass support for Tinubu. Lagos State Governor Bola Babajide Sanwo-Olu said Nigeria reignited the spirit of June 12, 1993 presidential election during the recent general election, when they voted the President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima the same way they set aside ethnicity and religion to vote for the late Chief Moshood Abiola and Babagana Kingibe of the defunct Social Democratic Party SDP in 1993. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who made the remark yesterday at an event in Ikeja, the Lagos state capital, organized by the Alliance for Yoruba Democratic Movement, a coalition of 121 pan-Yoruba group, to mark the 30th anniversary of the election, said by voting for Tinubu and Shettima, Nigeria de-emphasized the divisive issues of ethnicity and religions in leadership recruitment. In a speech read on his behalf by the state's deputy governor, Obafemi Hamzat, the governor advised them to remain steadfast and continue to have faith in the renewed hope agenda of the All Progressive Congress, because he believed President Tinubu will put in his best to fulfill his promise to all Nigerians. And to the rider, governors, activists, hail Matthias of democracy, canvass support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And from the Punch newspaper, ahead of today's inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday mobilized support for Senator Godswill Akpabio, who is contesting the Senate presidency. The president, as part of effort to rally support for Akpabio and other anointed aspirants of the All Progressive Congress (APC), met the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma. But a former Zamfara State Governor, Senator Abdul Aziz Yari, was pressing ahead with his presidential ambition on Monday, just as the Deputy Speaker Idris Wase and another member of the House of Representatives, Sani Jaji, insisted on contesting the position of the Speaker. The APC's National Working Committee had zoned the Senate President to the South-South and nominated Akpabio, a Christian, as a preferred candidate, and Senator Jibrin Barahu from Northwest for Deputy Senate President. Similarly, the party nominated Tajuddin Abbas, Kaduna Northwest, for Speaker, and Benjamin Kalu, Abia Southeast, for Deputy Speaker. The rider is coming from the Punch newspaper. National Assembly, APC anointed candidates rebel to slug it out.
Moriri, taking a look at the euphoria of the events that took place across the country yesterday, like at separate ceremony across the country to mark the 30th anniversary of the annulment of June 12, 1993 presidential election, which was won by the billionaire businessman Moshood Abiola. Now, what is your take looking back at Nigerian from that time till now? Can we really say that we have made a lot of achievements or a lot of remarks that will say yes, Nigerian democracy have come to stage?
I say excellently, it's been a woeful time so far since the emergence of democracy in Nigeria to date, because there are so many people who doesn't want the credit should be given to late Kashima or MKO Abiola, who is the proprietor, from my own opinion, and it's not so a sweet thing for the Nigeria country as a whole. And I'd like to tell you that many of them who denied and annulled June 12 election, victory of June 12 election that year, 1993, they should be on the regrets right now. But all of the talking and sayings on newspapers and mediums which they ever have to communicate to the Nigerians is just a time like we regret our actions, but they don't want to speak it out positively like I've done now. And I see Nigeria with the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the #1 man or citizen of the country. Let us look forward to what he has for us to dispense as the president of the nation. And from the look of things, the way he has started and doing his things as the #1 citizen of the country, we should support him so as for us to actualize the dividend of democracy in Nigeria. Per se, democracy is not working in Nigeria yet. But with the look of things and smelling of what we are seeing so far in the last 14 days since he assumed office as the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Vice President Kashim Shettima, I can see we should hope for the best from the both of them. So let us fold our hands and do something we need to call action and stop talking on mediums to communicate like these are the things we have, these are the things we want. Let's go into action to understand and making sure that yes, Nigeria lives with democracy, pure democracy, not just adulterated one like we've had in the past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, where he promises to making sure that everything as regards corruption is dealt with. But all of the same, from the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to that of Ministry of Finance and National Budget, to that of CBN, to that of every commissions and MDAs under President Muhammadu Buhari, they are so disgraceful with a system of governance onto Nigerians. Because is it about the squandering when you see people, governors, ex-governors, laundering money, cash and stuff, and you get to see that ordinary Nigerian that gets he or herself into an offense which is just minimal, you see them having a very grievous punishment, and these governors are just like sacred cows. But for this Tinubu's emergence as our president, I'm not supporting Tinubu, but I'm enjoying what he has been doing so far in the last 2 weeks now. Let us fold our arms and join in on this special crusade of making Nigeria a better Nigeria.
Okay, before we go back to one of the points you just made mention of now, let's look at it from this point of view. If you look at the NEC as at the time of June 12th, whereby the NEC, the National Electoral Commission, which has been metamorphosized into INEC now, what do you think Nigerian government, as in this administration, need to work on in the area of the electoral body, so that Nigerians would believe in the conduct of the election that will take place, the forthcoming election that might want to take place in the country? Because if you look at the time of June 12th, the head of state then had to give instruction that they should halt the continuous counting of the vote, which led to a lot of things, riots and chaos and the rest of it in the country. But now, the electoral body is in the tribunal with other political parties that were also involved in the last election that just took place in Nigeria, although we had a president in office. But what do you think, which area do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will need to work to give Nigeria a better electoral body?
There is nothing wrong with our electoral body other than the people in power dictating to the electoral body. And secondly, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have little to do than just giving a direction and making sure that things happen the way it ought to happen. Number three is that when all of these commissions have their free hands to work as expected from the constitution that backs them, definitely all of these sacred cows wanting their own candidates to be in powers will not enjoy all of the dividends again. Then number four, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to make sure that the good people are at the ends of affair at the right time, not just biased people like that of former Minister of Aviation Adi Sirika, complaining that one of the reps wanted to have a shortcut money from him. If you had done your job well, would anybody ask or request for a bribe from you? He's a thief himself, because you are at the ends of affair of bringing in Nigeria Air, and you went ahead to Ethiopia having an MOU with them to bring in their own aircraft painted in Nigeria green, white, green, and written with Nigeria Air. This is fraud. If all of these measures can be dealt with, I tell you, Nigeria will be the Nigeria it used to be.
Moriri, so let's look at this point now. Now, if you look at the last NAS, the last National Assembly, we had Ahmed Lawan as the Senate President. Now, come to think of it, now that we are about to have the 10th Senate Assembly, the President is bidding for Akpabio. At the same time, Yari is insisting that he also wants to be the next president. And if you look at the formation of Nigeria, we said the president is coming from the southwest. We have the vice president from the northeast. Now, we also had, if you look at the House of Representatives, we are having Abbas and one other, somebody from the southeast. What do you think? Should we now allow the Senate president to go back to the north or to go back to the North Central? Or what is your take
So
on
far, anyone who is in charge of the Senate presidency is going to work diligently, not just because of zoning.
that? Okay.
Number one, we didn't have the president from Southwest. It was a vote that brought in the president.
Okay.
Then the president felt bringing in a Muslim ticket that brought about chaos and agitations and reaction, which I believe it is all a false play by big people in Nigeria and even from the religion angle. Then number two, if Abdul Aziz Yari, former Zamfara state governor, is pressing for the Senate presidency, my question to Yari is that what were the things he left at Zamfara? Was he able,
As achievements.
yes, was he able to bring succor to insecurity, the killings and maiming of people of the state? How many of the infrastructural fiscal projects was achieved during his time as a governor? All of these people vying for presidency, is it a must they should continue being in power? Is it a must that they should always be a public figure? Are they the only one meant for powers in Nigeria? If we have vice president from the north part of the country, what stop a southerner becoming the Senate president? What stop a southeasterner from becoming the deputy Senate president? We all have our time and routine for all of these positions. So why the agitation? If truly you have done something brilliantly well, you shouldn't be vying for it desperately with desperation that you must be the Senate president. Let your achievements speak for you. The day Nigerian leaders understand the fact that they shouldn't be the one begging and using their powers, their connections, their affluence and influences for a particular position, I see it as greed. If they have performed or they have performed wonderfully well, let your achievements be your green card to speak for you. Votes brought in Ahmed Tinubu when nobody believed that yes, he will surely emerge as the president. I saw a video where the former CBN governor and former Kano State Emir Sanusi Lamido was saying at a session in Lagos, I think, where the president today was in attendance and many of their allies. He was speaking something like, if Bola, my friend, becomes a president, this and this, this and that, this and this and that. There should be a free and fair connection to all of these things. It is not written that constitutionally you must become the Senate president. Let whatever position in the past you have held speak for you, so as people in the society can believe in you that yes, for once or twice, he spent 8 years as a governor of Zamfara State. Let's go back to the scorecard. Let's go and check his achievements. Let's go and check if truly he's loved by his people. Let's go and check what he has done there while he was the governor. Let's go and check what are the money necessary for the society than the ones he kept in his own private accounts. Your life should speak better for you than your actions and reaction. My submission.
Okay, Moriri, let's quickly go straight to the Northeast. 2014, 276 daughters of Chibok Government Secondary School were adopted. As of today, we had 92 still in captivity. And if you could recall, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just came as on office, one of the landmark achievements he made was having a meeting with all the heirs of security operating in the country. What would be your suggestion or your advice to the new administration in respect of those children?
If there was sincerity since the days of Jonathan as the president of the country, those girls should have gained their freedom. You wipe them out. You wipe those insurgents out of the country. They were never meant to be here. And we never had those girls. We have them due to abductions and all of our irrelevancy and lackadaisical attitude of all of our chief of staffs concerning army, air force, navy, police, and the likes of them. If there was sincerity in their dispensation of activities and assignments, national assignments, there should be security in the country. No matter the forces that comes outside to invade the country, there should be a resilient resistance from all of these people that ought to do their job, especially when it comes to security. And every state governor needs to secure their state because they are the number one citizen. If all of this security architecture were to be working, definitely we wouldn't have any of trouble coming from insurgency, banditry, or non-government, to mention a few. And secondly, if all of these bosses are the ends of affair when it comes to military, if they have not been eating up the money that they ought to give out to their junior officers as expected, and the budget going to them, if they spend it well as regards buying of armory, machinery, guns and ammunitions, all of these things we are encountering in Nigeria will never had come. Because if Nigeria was to be having a very cordial relationship with other working countries and their armed forces, several times US wrote to Nigeria, let's have an MOU to help you fight insurgency. Nothing was done. Nothing came up on a black and white paper. Definitely, there are some elements in government, big people who feel that yes, they should be receiving smiles by exploiting and exploring Nigeria as a country to their own pockets. Doing all of these things, there's always one thing I believe in, which is karma. A look backward to past head of state that are still alive, we can pinpoint, even the blind and the deaf, they can pinpoint the good ones that are still living and even the dead ones. When late Musa Yar'Adua was the president, we felt his impact immediately he assumed the office. He said the election that brought him in to be the president was not free and fair.
Exactly.
And due to health-wise, everything happened the way it went naturally. Then we accepted that fate. Why can't we accept the fate that you are responsible to take actions when you ought to take actions to secure the subjects under you? That's a responsibility and your priorities. Because your scorecard will surely tell about you. President Buhari was speaking that yes, he has done his best. What exactly was his best during the 8 years he was there as the president? You say you're supporting Niger with assorted luxurious cars. Are those cars meant to fight terrorism? I can't imagine a mother as a finance minister speaking, Nigeria supported Niger with those luxurious cars, and it was railed from Nigeria to Niger. Were they armored cars or armored tanks? These are questions that need answers. There was a video I saw last night, when a secretary to a committee concerning CBN was speaking from Jigawa State, something Adeja. He raised his hand to speak at the chamber, but the deputy speaker was telling the speaker not to allow him to speak, because already he's with the document that was having enough information and detailed account of what is happening at the central bank. They invited Godwin Emefiele as then CBN governor, who is now suspended. The suspended CBN governor sent his deputy, a female, to the house to defend whatever query is before the CBN concerning the appropriation, the bills, the budget, and everything. Then this man from Adeja raised his hand to talk, but he was restricted. His microphone was never given the green light to speak. Definitely, we still have this shady deals happening. If he had spoken, definitely we should have some revelations as regards some millions and trillions of money hidden by Godwin Emefiele, because he is corrupt. If you are not corrupt and you are summoned by any committee, you should be able to go there vigorously to defend whatever is brought before you, than faking it like others that have faced the inquiries or queries with maybe they are sick, they are this, they are that. Why is it that in Nigeria, it is when you are being summoned that you feel that yes, you are sick, you are having diarrhea, you're having this cold, you're having, it is just gibberish. Let all of these people be dealt with accordingly, and they should serve as deterrent to others. Then we can have a reshaped Nigeria. my submission.
How a reshaped Nigeria. If you are just joining us, this is BGI TV Current, and we are taking you through the dailies for the day. Please, for your response or comments, just put it right there in the comment section. Okay, Rabila, do we have any other headline from you there?
Yeah, from the Punch newspaper, I'm having this one. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company on how much they will pay to get petroleum product. This came about 2 weeks after the federal government announced the removal of fuel subsidy. NNPCL Retail, in a circular released on Sunday and obtained, directed marketers to consider merging their old orders, which carry the old fuel price, in order to buy a truck of 45 million liters of petrol. Information gathered that marketers had before the deregulation ordered one truck of petrol for about 7 million naira, and the rider, which served as the last one, NNPCL issues directive to marketers on refund new price.
Now, in the respect of the issue of the petroleum, when this administration just came on board, a lot of Nigerians were so clamoring that the president had removed the subsidy and things like that. And I believe that the president had made a statement that a lot of measures should be put in place for people to cushion which will serve as palliative and to cushion the effect on Nigerian masses. But what is your own take on the issue of the petroleum subsidy once again?
I feel the price of petroleum in Nigeria will reduce and everyone will smile over it. Let's just endure whatever we're going through right now, because the oil marketers are the one dealing with Nigerians, not the presidency.
Okay, not the presidency. So as we wrap up for today on the Nigerian dailies, my name remains Ige Olalekon, and I believe that for you to get more details on all the discussion in the house, you can just try and get a copy of the newspaper for the day. Morire, I'm handing over to you.
My name still remains Morire Rabila Lawal. If you enjoyed today's episode, let's meet again same time on the channel BGI TV Current. On YouTube, kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell to support and enjoy all of our broadcasts. And on Facebook, Bagide Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. And for advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please call on the phone number streaming on your screen for your advert placement. Your advert on our channel will surely convince you. Stay blessed and remain confident in the new dispensation of the newest administration we have in the country.